Top of the morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's top of the morning to all my saints and ain'ts. It's your boy, Corey You Stupid, better known as Black Music Beast. And today, I know I don't usually do this, but I want to tap into one of these producer conversations about the sample-based producers versus the loop makers. It's a big discrepancy and a big disagreement about what's real hip hop or what's being a real producer when you talk about sample based and you talk about people who make loops, or better yet, guys who use loops. And to me personally, I know I don't usually do this. I just wanted to post this to my channel because I think this is a very stupid conversation. And I want a little bit of input from my producer friends, some of the people who follow me on YouTube, TikTok, social media, Instagram, or whatever. I don't understand why we cannot come to an agreement. And in the producer community that I'm a part of, um, I do a little bit of both. I use samples and I also use loops. But on top of all that, I actually know how to play. Well, I don't know how to play for shit, but I know how to make melodies. I know some basic music theories. I know certain scales and certain chords, and I know how to make a dope melody and stuff. But still, I like to use loops. Now, a lot of the times in the sample based community, and it's not a direct attack on the sample based community, but it's always an argument with the loop maker or the loop user community is that's not real music. And I really want you guys to tell me what the fuck is the difference. Please explain to me what's the difference between using samples and using loops. From my knowledge, if you go back to the origin of hip hop, when hip hop first started, they would use a breakbeat that they would loop, and then they would add a soul sample or any kind of sample on top of it, blend the two together, maybe add some effects, put in some scratching, and then boom, they had a new loop or a new composition that you was able to rock the party with. Now, when you look at back at that, that's the base of what hip hop started from. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was sampling. But truth be told, in the sample based community, that they used someone else's composition and then they broke it down and then they created something new. So how is what you're doing in the sample based community kind of different from what you use in the loop community? Because the loop, yeah, somebody else made that composition, but you took it, you broke it down, you chopped it up and flipped it, and then you add drums to it, and you made something new out of something somebody else created. A lot of times in the sample-based community, you'll grab a sample that is a big hit or something that somebody is familiar to with, and you'll chop it up, add drums to it, and you'll make something new. I don't see why it's not a comparison between the two. Now, don't get me wrong, because it's a lot of people that go out here and do this. If you use a loop and you keep it exactly the same, like you don't pitch it up and down, you don't chop it up, flip it, or rearrange it, you just take the loop as is and add drums to it, no, that is not producing. That is not producing. So I'm going to shoot the sample based community some bail on that one. But also in the sample based community, if you take a hit record, an old 70 or 80 sample, and just take out the parts you like and loop it and add drums, what the fuck is the difference? Explain to me what is the difference. We didn't do no sample chopping, no rearranging, no nothing. You just took two good parts out of that soul song and you compiled them together and created a new composition. That's not producing either. It's a lot easier to use a composition that somebody else created from back in the day because they instant hits and they gonna get more likes and more views and more popularity, I believe, because people are already familiar with that sound. You know what I'm saying? You take some old Teddy Pendergrass and some Marvin Gaye, you know what I'm saying? You sauce it up with some hard drums and some bass. Of course it's gonna sound good. In the loop maker community, you taking something that's different, somebody not familiar with, they never really heard before, and you made a new composition out of that. So if you just using a basic loop or a basic sample and adding drums and you didn't do nothing to me, yeah, of course I can agree with you there. But if you can take a loop and chop it down, maybe add it in your fruity slice or whatever DAW you use, and chop it up to different pieces, rearrange it so it gives you a different vibe, a different sound, that's sampling, my G. That's the same thing that everybody else is doing. You know what I'm saying? That is the basis of sampling. Only reason that I bring this up because I do both. You know what I'm saying? I like to use loops and I also like to use samples. Sometimes I use both at the same time. You know, I might take a old soul sample, filter out everything else where I could just get the singing part and play over top of it. I think that's producing. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot that goes into producing. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody is a producer. I understand. Some dudes are just beat makers. Producing takes a lot, but I don't think you can take away from one and you know what I'm saying, not take some sort of justification of the same things that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Don't kill me. I'm just the messenger. You know what I'm saying? And this is just my opinion. I just wanted more opinions on that from the producer community. You know what I'm saying? And second of all, like I don't really know how to say this without nobody really getting offended, but I don't think you can judge one person on what they do if you can't do it. And the reason that I say that, I know a lot of sample-based producers, and no knock to them. I love what y'all do. Y'all niggas making some hard music. But if I know a few, and this is just in my community that I come from with a lot of sample-based community that I'm also friends with. But they can sample their ass off. They can chop a fucking sample and take some sounds out of, do things amazing that I could never do. But the problem that I have with them, they can't play a lick. You know what I'm saying? You put a keyboard in front of them and it's like Chinese arithmetic. So I don't feel that it's fair for you to be able to judge, you know, somebody who actually can go out there and make a melody and you can't play a melody at all. And the same thing with people who making loops or you making melodies or whatever like that. You can't judge a sample-based producer because you can't sample. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who know that sampling is hard. Yeah, you can catch an alley-oop if you just take one specific part. That sound hard. But if you could take 3 or 4 parts and break it up and make it a whole new composition and make it sound totally different than the original, that is sampling and that is dope. And I know a lot of people who can play and make melodies and make loops that can't sample what the fuck. So it's kind of a level playing field. I think we should come together in the community so we can teach each other the difference. So I think that we can learn and we can become stronger in this community. Because this conversation to me is very fucking dumb. I can do both. You know what I'm saying? My weapon of choice is FL Studio 20. Preferably 12. I still think 12.5 is better than 20. It just was way more easy to use. And I got the update to 21. That shit look foreign to me. I haven't updated it yet. I'm kind of the person like, I'm stuck in my ways. If it's broke, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, just like I said, I just wanted to bring that up. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, my weapon of choice is FL Studio. But do not get it fucked up. You can put an old MPC 2000 in front of me, and you give me about 30-45 minutes, and I'll bust you up. Sure, trust me. I goes down. I started off in the MPC. I started off analog before software was really a thing. You know what I'm started. I started off with basic, like, you know what I'm saying, keyboards like the Triton and the MPC. That's how I originally started making beats. Actually, to tell you the truth, when I started making beats, this is show that my age, like CDs and computers and shit wasn't even really prevalent yet. Like, we still was making beats and recording them in tapes. That's how far back I go. But you know what I'm saying? The time that I come up, we had an MPC hooked to like a regular fucking house stereo, you know what I'm saying, with a motherfucking Radio Shack keyboard and a couple old samples and a motherfucking drum machine. You know what I'm saying? The MPC drum machine. And we was making beats, recording the tapes. So that's how far back I go. So I feel I can speak on this topic because I come from that fucking era. I just think now with the software base like Logic, FL Studio, even my Reason dudes, shout out to the Reason dudes, and definitely the Ableton dudes. We don't like Apple gang, fuck Ableton gang, but I still respect them for what they do because a lot of them dudes is pretty fucking dope. But Ableton and FL, we'll never get along and shit for real. They the Bloods, we the Crips. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But this is my first little joint that I'm gonna put out. Hopefully I'm gonna put out pretty more. If you can do anything, drop a like and please fucking subscribe. You know, if I can get at least 100 views and at least 50 comments on this, I do a little bit more on it. I can take what you call it, constructive criticism. I want all the sample based community and shit for real. Jump in the motherfucker comments. Tell me why you mad, son. Tell me why you mad, son. Jump in them comments. Let me have it. Let me know what's real. Give me a decent rebuttal so I should be able to look at this conversation a little bit different. All my loop makers and my MIDI players and everybody else, dudes who know how to that get funky with their fingers, I want y'all to speak up too. Like everybody give me a little bit of feedback and so we can resolve this in the motherfucker community. So, like I said, it's Block Music Beast, better known as Corey You Stupid. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. More fires on the way. Shout outs and shit for real, and leave it in the comments. Peace.